Hey everybody, so in this video we're talking about classifying a quadrilateral in the coordinate plane. So what they want us to do is, given the vertices, can you determine what type of quadrilateral and can you give its most specific classification? So really we're trying to figure out if these four quadrants here, or excuse me, these four coordinate points are going to create a rectangle, a rhombus, a square, or a parallelogram. So let's go through and see what we need to do. First, we're going to have to figure out the distances between each point. So here for A to B, we're going to use our distance formula. Now, when you think distance formula, don't worry too much about x2 minus x1. For distance formula, the easiest way to do this is to think about the distance between the points. So what is your distance between the number 9 and the number 8? Well, that distance is 1. So then we square it. And then we're going to find the distance between the y's. Well, what's the distance between -4 and -2? Well, that distance is 2. And then we square it. So here, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, so this is the square root of 5. Now let's find the distance between points B and C. So here, square root again. The distance between 8 and 2 is 6. The distance between -2 and -5 is 3. So here we have 6 squared plus 3 squared, so that's 36 plus 9. So here, this is 45. So already we know that these two are not the same. So this cannot be a rhombus and it cannot be a square. So it has to be a rectangle or a parallelogram. So now we'll look at C and D. So the distance between 2 and 3 is 1. The distance between -5 and -7 is 2. So here we're back at square root of 5, and then we're going to look at from D to A. So here the distance from 3 to 9 is 6. And the distance from -7 to -4 is 3. So just like BC here, we have the square root of 45. So now we know based off this, it must be a rectangle or a parallelogram. Now, how do we distinguish between the two? Well, in a rectangle, the diagonals are congruent, and in a parallelogram, the diagonals are not. So what we need to do now is compare our diagonals. So I'm going to compare A to C. So I need to find that distance. So here I'll look for the distance AC. So the distance from 9 to 2 is 7. And the distance from 4 to -4 to -5, that is 1. So this is the square root of 50. So now if B to D is the square root of 50, then this is going to be a rectangle. If that is not the case, then I know it's going to be a parallelogram. So here we have the distance from B to D. So 8 to 3 is 5. And -2 to -7 is also 5. So here we have the square root of 50. So our classification is going to be that this is a rectangle. Now, in the assignment, or normally when you justify this, you need to give all the reasons. We know for a fact this is a rectangle because we have opposite sides that are congruent and our diagonals are congruent. If I wanted to justify a parallelogram, I would say opposite sides are congruent and the diagonals are not congruent. So that would be my justification. All right, let's look at another example. So here we have the exact same thing, QRST. So we want to classify the quadrilateral and we want to be as specific as possible. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did. We're going to look at the distance from Q to R. So the distance from -2 to 1 is 3. The distance from -7 to -5 is 2. So now I have 9 plus 4. This is the square root of 13. And now I'll do r to s. So 1 to 4 is 3. -5 to -7 is 2. So again, we have square root of 13, s to t. 4 to 1 is 3. -7 to -9 is 2. So I have 9 plus 4. So again, we have the square root of 13. And now I have to check t to q. So 1 to -2 is 3. And -7 to -9 is 2. So all four sides are equal. Now that does not mean that it's only going to be a square. This is going to be a square or a rhombus. So again, how do we determine? Well, in a square, the sides are equal and the diagonals are equal. In a rhombus, the sides are equal but the diagonals are not. So we are going to have to compare our diagonals as well. So I'm going to compare Q to S, and I'm going to find that length. So -2 to 4, this is a length of 6. -7 to -7, that's a distance of 0. So this is the square root of 36, or 6. And then we're going to compare R to T. So 1 to 1, that's a distance of 0. And -5 to -9 is a distance of 4. So this is the square root of 16, or 4. So these diagonals are not the same. Therefore, we have a rhombus. And for my classification, I'm going to want to say I know this is a rhombus because all sides are equal and the diagonals are not congruent. And that would be my justification. All right, that's going to be all for this video. I hope that you found it helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and we'll see you all in the next video.